Kurt, we've got some websites here.
Yes.
You gave me a long list. I've got some personal preferences. I know you're a big Chubbies fan. Do you want to start there?
I almost said it should be a requirement that we start with Chubbies. So normally the way we do these website teardowns is attendees submit their websites and we pick some and then we do teardowns and see what learnings we have there. For the first time, to switch it up, I asked for hey, what are the best top of mind design focused DTC brands? What comes up first? And I asked across social media, and I was able to get 20 suggestions out of that after I filtered out the people who tried to sneak their own stuff in. Nice try, guys. And so we've got sites like Chubbies.com, Chubby Shorts, and Allbirds.com. And I gave that list to Derek. I'm going to let Derek choose. I've avoided looking at most of these websites, so I'll be seeing them with fresh eyes. I will give you my genuine impression, and we're going to try and tease out, okay, here's what we think works about this so that you can then take those tactics and implement them on your own websites.
Yeah. And so in this case, I think we'll see hopefully a lot of good examples.
Yes.
But I bet we'll find opportunities because I'm already seeing
Nobody's perfect.
And everyone has an opinion, so it's easy to have an opinion about something as well.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm highly opinionated.
That's what makes this so good, though. It's all just our opinion. We have no data to back any of this up. Well, sometimes
that's true. Yeah, it's really entirely subjective. I know it works. I know best practices. So, number one, none of these people volunteered their sites. Number two, we're working from a place of experience but opinion. We don't have the data behind this stuff. And three, I'm sure all these sites are extremely successful, no matter how I criticize them.
Yeah. Good disclaimer. You want to bring up Chubbies?
Yes. Let me get my screen ready.
All right, for everybody watching, listening right now, where are you at? Where are you?
I'm in scenic Skokie, Illinois, in the professional building of Westfield Old Orchard Mall, which is currently shut down due to quarantine. The mall, not the professional building. I'm the only one here. So social distancing, I'm in an entirely empty office by myself.
Safer than being near your family, I'm sure.
But I'm just trying to achieve some normalcy. I'm trying to, as best I can, stick to my normal work routine. Number I'll tell you right now, I'm scared. The anxiety comes in waves. But when I'm doing the work, when I'm talking to clients and our projects continue forward, that's when I feel great. And all right, so COVID update, I would right now, informally, about 80% of our client stores are right where we'd expect them to be, plus or minus 3% of where we'd expect them to be. That's great. That gives me hope. There's some people in industries that were hit hard, like you're a client who sells to bars. All right, sales are down 90%. So not everyone was so lucky. But I think e-commerce is going to be a lifeline for a lot of people. I think entrepreneurship is going to be a lifeline. And I want to do my best to enable people with it. So this showing up and not canceling this is one of the ways we're doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we tested out a virtual networking event to make up for the lack of in-person. Maybe we'll test it out again. I think somebody suggested instead of in the middle of an event, we do more virtual beers, BYOB, or something along those lines. I just shared here in chat your most recent podcast episode on updates on coronavirus and e-commerce in general. So if you haven't seen that yet, check that out with the link here. Let's look at some websites. Let's tear them down. Let's
check out Chubbies.
Yeah.
All right. So when we land on Chubbies.com, my initial impression is,
I got to see your screen.
Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Aren't I a smart guy? Well, hey, smart guy. Think you're so smart? Forgot to share your screen.
And for some reason,
I got a YouTube comment recently. Someone's like, "You think you're so smart?" And they misspelled your. I was like, no comments. All right, here we go. Do you see my screen?
Yes, looks great.
All right, good. So when we land on the Chubbies website, man, look at that hero photo. They have went and gone full lifestyle. This immediately speaks to who they are and what they're about. This brand is about fun and loungewear and fun shorts. So that's great. Now, my criticism here is two things that scare me. Number one, there's a lot of text on this page, and like there's a lot of widgets. Especially on mobile, be careful with sticky widgets because there's such finite viewport space, so the screen space on mobile, that like they've got this pop up here, but it's advertising a deal, and then we've got a sticky header and message bar up here, and then down here we've got a sticky message, and then we've got a live chat widget. Just like right now they're running a promo, it makes sense, but just be careful with the total number of sticky elements on a page. On the site, they've got something atypical. So they've got their navigation on the left side, and it's all categories. Okay, this is a thing I wish, so we'll assume this thing here is their main menu. This is what I wish everyone would do, is make sure your main menu is exclusively devoted to shopping, to products. It either needs to go to a collection page or a product page, and that's it. And they've got, their standard categories in here. But then first link is sale, and then they've also slipped new releases in here. So everybody's main menu could probably have, sale or clearance, some variation of that, and then a new release category. And then in this, they've got the secondary menu. So that way they separate out the shopping stuff, and it's clearly there's less focus on that secondary menu. But I will say, I think BV Excel built this site. They're great. Chubby's is really successful and design-minded and great. But what scares me about this is an atypical layout, right? Where we've got the navigation on the left side. That can be, as soon as you're deviating from whatever the standard is, which is the menu across the top, that's where people could start to get confused. But it's so minimal, so nice, they don't have that issue. But all right, clearly they want me to shop the sale with all these stickies. So let's check it out. I got to shop for some shorts here. Boom, it loads.
There's a non-zero chance Kurt actually purchases something probably.
I do. Yes, my summer apparel is like all Chubby's gear. I love it. It's so fun.
Yeah.
So the collection page is really nice, and I love, especially with apparel, they've got filtering set up. So it's like, I don't need to see the stuff that doesn't fit me. So I'd be like, all right, large, just show me the stuff that's in large. And having shopped here, I know that's the correct size for me. But they do something very clever that you rarely see in Shopify stores. They run multiple collections inside their collection. So this is a theme customization, but Out of the Sandbox themes actually support this. People rarely do it. It's Out of the Sandbox has documentation for it. Obviously this is custom, but okay. As you scroll down, it says 5.5-inch casual short. Okay. So then I could keep scrolling. That's the first collection. Now look, 7-inch casual short. This is actually the second collection. But if we look at the category page, it's collection/final sale. So this is a rare thing in Shopify called a sub-collection. Whoa, that's unusual. I also like they put the availability for the collection right in the collection grid. So I could see at a glance without having to click through and then be disappointed if it'll fit me or not. We have found over and over, if people find a product they like when they're browsing and then it's not available in their size or the color they wanted, it's a real turnoff and they'll often bounce. So be careful displaying a lot of out-of-stock products, right?
And I bet this reduces customer service inquiries because it's super straightforward.
Yes.
So it's like actually, it's helping in so many different levels.
And then on desktop, they do what I love is when I can hover over and see the second image. And this is standard on a lot of sites now, but and there's a little extra load time with it, but I think it's worth it. Totally worth it. I encourage it. And displaying the sizes is a pretty easy customization if you want to get that done. Let's check out a product page. All right, so these shorts are pretty tame by Chubby standards, but their product form is really nice because, like, it's very clear what my selection is. The one thing they did that I don't like is it defaults too small. So it always just picks the first variant in here. So it would be really easy for me to go, oh, well, I filtered by large, and then I land on the product, and it was available in large, but here it's already selected small. I'm the customer, I don't realize that. I click add to cart, and now I've added the size small to my cart without thinking, okay, well, now they got a return and exchange situation, and a mildly annoyed customer. So the solution is, as a theme customization, what we'll do is if we detect that size is the variant, then we'll force the selection where, like, the add to cart button will say, when they click it, it'll be like, you must select a size first. So, okay, I'll check large. And they smartly include the size guide right up here with this thing. Now, I will say I wish all these fonts were a little bigger. If it's bigger, it's easier to read. That's like one of the easiest conversion rate optimization hacks. I tweeted that recently. People were like, cite your source for that. Around the time that the printing press was invented about 300 years ago,
good source.
Is when they started worrying about line height. All right, guys. So, and then they do a nice thing where they call out the features and then have related products for internal links. But here's the real magic of Chubby's. No one has a drawer cart as cool or as impressive as Chubby's. I tried to rebuild this thing myself once. I couldn't do it. It was a disaster.
Okay, so here we're clicking what you're talking about.
Add to cart. Did you see like the crazy, there's like a firework effect when I click add to cart, which just is fun. The drawer slides out. It darkens the page. But then here's the real impressive part about what Chubby's does. All right, so the checkout button cannot be missed because it glows. It's animated. That'll take you 10 seconds to implement on your site using CSS. Just Google CSS animations. You could find examples, copy paste. And they have their dynamic checkout buttons right in the cart too. That's really clever. But okay, the real magic is in the way they increase average order value. So they've got the item here, and then free gifts. They offer you free gifts, but you have to unlock them based on what's in the cart. So you can see what you're missing out on. And then, all right, well, here's the one that's, adding any item to cart, I can now add my free gift. So I'll add this one.
Brand is amazing. Let's face
Isn't that cool?
This is awesome.
Yeah. But like trying to implement these things, I tried to do it. It's really tough. It's when you have to sell items where people have to select a size. That's what complicates it. And like doing this with one offer would be a lot easier. They've got 10 offers in here. That's just so much logic to do programmatically. It's really just absolutely phenomenal work. And then if we go to the checkout, they have remembered to style their checkout. So many people forget this. They forget to style the checkout on Shopify. These guys didn't, and they used the header image. So good for them. All right. I think that...
Go back a couple. I have
back?
A couple questions on
all
this.
Right.
All right. First on this page, we see Afterpay here. What are your thoughts on buy now, pay later tools?
I was on the fence about them when I first encountered them. I have discovered sites that offer them the people who use the financing will typically have a significantly higher average order value than your standard customers. If your audience skews younger, access to credit is much harder for younger people, for Zoomers and millennials, because of changes in the legislation after 2008. Yeah. So it is often greatly appreciated by people, especially younger customers, that you offer financing. And I love some people say, oh, well, isn't that, don't people not need more debt? I don't want to promote that. A lot of these services are 0%, like Afterpay, interest-free. Well, a credit card interest rate's like 20%. You're doing them a service by offering this, I promise.
Yeah, and it doesn't affect credit. I think any of these tools aren't going to affect your credit score at all. I actually talked with the partner manager, Jean-Luc from Sezzle, and I'm like, so Sezzle. What happens if they don't pay? Yeah, I think Sezzle is one of the best as well. I'm like, so what happens if people actually don't pay you? And he says, well, we don't do anything. We just lose the money. Like they don't send you to collections. They don't ding your credit score. It's just, pay us back. Please pay us back. Like, yeah.
But yeah, I was they don't check it's a soft check on the credit. So it doesn't hurt their credit score. These services are nice. Your customers will appreciate it. And there's even there's communities around this, like on Reddit, where people are like, all right, this is my preferred financing solution. What stores offer this? And they'll shop by who offers their preferred solution.
Yeah, makes sense. And I think it's becoming more and more a thing. Like you said, with the Gen Z and the earlier generations, the younger generations, the older generations might prefer to use their credit card, or they just might have enough money in the bank to purchase. But even if you're thinking your audience is wealthy, even if you're selling a luxury product, there's a subset of your customer base who's going to prefer that option. And so I think you can offer it without hurting conversion rate on the other side of the brand. That being said, Louis Vuitton shouldn't offer this because there's too elevated of a brand. Right? Yeah. That's too nice of a brand to offer this kind of solution for.
Actually, here's a crazy one. We actually split tested the presence of the Sezzle widget on a product detail page for a brand who had a similar audience to Chubby's. Yeah. And what we found was when the Sezzle widget was there, conversions increased. But it's not that like some dramatic percentage of people used the financing widget. It's because look at the way they word the language in these things. 4 interest-free payments of $11. So, all right, the shorts cost $45, but as soon as you rephrase it as
$11.
4 payments of 11, it just breaks your brain where suddenly the thing looks cheaper.
Yeah, that's framing for you. And framing works in so many different ways. So that's really fascinating. All right, second thing on this page that you know I have to mention this. Estimated delivery date, 3/25/20.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, this is pretty cool. I think this is a very simple app that just basically says today plus 3 business days. I actually inspected
You don't even have to use an app for this. So there's apps that'll do this. I wrote a Liquid snippet. So if you're on Shopify, Liquid is the programmatic language they use. I wrote a Liquid snippet where you could put in the dates, how long your ship time is or time to ship is. And then it'll like know to remove weekends and calculate for that. And it'll actually say, you can then have it display right on the product page under the form. Your order will ship or estimated to arrive on this date or estimated to ship on this date. I like estimated delivery date.
Here, right click on that estimated delivery date and hit inspect. This is kind of funny when I inspected this, and we're going into the weeds now, but if it works.
Oh, I've got here. Hold on.
You've got like the mobile.
Yeah, naturally, I've got the responsive view on.
What it says
is what it's called.
Yeah, shipping note, and then what it says down there. I can't see it. We can't see below the middle portion of the screen, but it says that it's like skipping Monday as a holiday, so it's tracking the holiday. So the one thing I'll say.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it knows to skip an extra day. So this is very valuable, and this is the cheap way of doing it. The risk with the cheap way is that you're setting an expectation that you don't even know you have to deliver on, because this date isn't going to your customer service team or your fulfillment team. Like nobody actually knows that it needs to get there by that date. Also, this date is almost certainly completely generic. It says 3/25 for me as well. So I might be able to get it tomorrow for free or almost instantly because I'm in Oakland near a fulfillment center in like Fresno or something like that. Meanwhile, maybe there's nothing in like the Chicago area that gets it to you. So you might be the 27th, right?
So my guess is that they're under promising and over delivering because I've ordered from them several times. I know if I place an order right now, I will have it in 2 to 3 days. Like if I ordered it today, I would fully expect it to show up on Saturday or Sunday. So either way, or Saturday or Monday, either way, it beats this expectation. So this is a really clever customer service opportunity they've created here.
There's some value in that, in actually setting the expectation low and then over fulfilling. But there's actually a lot of value in increasing conversion rate when you show them that it will be shipped shorter. So there is a solution for this. It works most specifically for the larger brands, the $100 million, $500 million solutions. But I think it's worth noting.
Is it Phoenix Commerce?
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
But of course. The tool is doing amazing things. The first thing it's looking at your raw data based on geolocation and being able to predict the actual landed date. Then it tells your customer service team and your fulfillment team what that date is for each product. So you can actually go into the back end and say, we promised this customer to be delivered by this time. And then it helps you select the shipping options to ensure that you fulfill on your promise based on where you're at in the timeline of your business. So it's actually working inside your entire business, improving the shipping process as a whole. Whereas this is a great app, and it will get you 80% of the conversion rate boost that Phoenix Commerce will do. But that extra 20% of that little oomph that you can get by being extremely accurate and being able to have people change their zip code and have it changes in weather, or maybe shipping across the country isn't going so well right now. So it can actually make adjustments to shipping times based on regional changes in shipments. So it's looking at like a whole bunch of different data points. And so there's something cool there. So I wanted to throw that tool out there, but let's move on.
For sure. All right, give me another one.
Let's go to Pair of Thieves because they're also silly.
Okay, I'm not familiar with Pair of Thieves.
What was that?
I said I'm not familiar with Pair of Thieves. I like the name.
I wasn't either until I think you're going to like this homepage.
All right, there we go. Boom. All right. Okay. Yes, this is great. So this is one of those things where I'm not familiar with the brand, but when I land on the site, I see Pair of Thieves. I wish it had a tagline, but like this is all text, so adding a tagline may not look the best. But even if it was like Pair of Thieves fashion and apparel, at least then I would have instant positioning as to what I'm about to be looking at. But I could guess it based on like men, women, and then scrolling down, you figure out pretty quickly it's fashion and apparel.
Yeah, I actually agree completely with you. It took me a while to figure out what they actually sell, or maybe if they have a core product. So I had to go like searching around the site. So while it's funny, it's actually not showing the product, that first one. And so that's like, it's like clever marketing got in the way of good marketing.
Yes, it's much better to be clear and concise than clever. Clever never wins with marketing. Up in the top right, I noticed there's no icons here. And icons have such an important purpose in that it's like universal symbols that we recognize. So it's search, login, bag, : Man, even the cart has been given the same weight as search and login. I wish like even if bag had if we're going to keep it all text, if it were a different color, I think that would help. And then in our hero image, the way it's set up, it's not obvious that I could scroll down. So I'm not a big believer that like the fold is a nightmare problem you have to deal with. But if I were worried about this, they could have like a little scroll indicator down here, or just cut these images not so tall, and it would solve that if it's an issue. One strange thing about this, so I'm not a big fan of image sliders. And we know from usability studies, only about 90% of people will ever see anything past the first slide. And then even stranger, they only have 2 slides in here. All right, if we're going to do it, let's just do it and have 3. So my preference is a single featured hero image or a video. Video is really engaging. But like, here's another problem. People are going to click on this thing. They're going to click all over the place. And you can't tell, but I'm clicking right now. All over this hero image. It does nothing except for this tiny button hidden in the corner, Shop Cool Breeze. All right, so that like such an easy usability win would just be, can I click that whole darn image? And then when we get to this guy, Thieves Gold, I'm still not necessarily sure what the heck I'm looking at for shopping. But now we've got 3 calls to action. Shop men's underwear, shop men's socks, shop men's shirts. So I assume they sell primarily men's undergarments?
Yeah, but then we do have a women's section. So it does get confusing there. But I do really like the brand that you feel like from the second you land.
The brand, like I already, even though have a little bit of trepidation about the usability, I already know like, okay, this is cool. It's one of those things where it's enough for me to keep looking, right? And they've got animated GIFs in here. I think that's super engaging. Like these are just unreal with January Jones. Why not have that same animated style up here? That would then make this page on load hyper engaging. That is the joy of video. Scrolling on down. Oh, look at that. I love when they do the icons. So like, why have icons down here, but we hate them in the header? All right, that's not a big deal. But for demonstrating benefits, and they're giving me features, not benefits for the most part, like supreme breathability, comfy fit. That's nice with the icons. I like that a lot. Though, again, like some fairly atypical layouts going on, and the layout changes a lot. Where we like this thing, this kind of slider setup. Oh, look, I can scroll on this thing horizontally. See, this is like exactly why you don't want to reinvent the wheel with stuff. I would much prefer this be in a grid because I know I just scroll vertically in the grid. I know what to do. Whereas when it's horizontal, it's only because I was staring at it, talking about it, that I noticed there's an image cut off over here. And then there's no scroll bar to indicate. This is why, like, just go with what's typical and conventional. It could be clean. It could be beautiful. But as long as it's standard, I'll know how to use it when I see it. Whenever I see text over images, and they've been careful, they've kept it easy to read, adding even just this is nice, kill swamp crotch. Adding just a really subtle drop shadow will make it easier to read. And like, it may be so subtle that I don't even notice it, but it'll add a little bit of contrast to make the text easier to read. Here, these don't necessarily look like buttons. Whereas over like up top, we've got a clear button style. I try to keep button styles consistent throughout, but it could also be that they're trying to, they don't want this whole page to be nothing but buttons. And then when I get to the footer, I am surprised there's not a newsletter sign up in the footer. I wonder what that's about.
It's supposed to be there. Look, I got to see on mine if this is.
Maybe I've got, well, I don't think I have ad block running on this, but occasionally ad block kills the Klaviyo opt-in, which is not great. And then they got social proof with the pull quote. All right, having the logos is great. Having the pull quote plus the logos, even better. Kill Swamp Crotch for good. Who loves Swamp Crotch? Nobody. Let's find it together. We can join forces. All right, let's check
feel like
out.
That could be the tagline at the top.
Kill Swamp Crotch for good. There you go.
Yeah.
See, that would have, the advantage to that is it gets your attention. Like, it's one of those things, if I go, I'm a dog lawyer, immediately you have to go, all right, what's a dog lawyer? If it said kill Swamp Crotch for good, I'm like, all right, I guess I should check this out and see what it's about.
I like that you have the dog lawyer reference ready to go. I almost want to test you to see how many more ridiculous jobs you have, like off the top of your head. But, right,
actually, dog lawyer is my go-to.
Yeah.
All right, so landing on this page. Wow. Okay. The only thing that's weird here is this quantity selector. Only because, like, purely for aesthetic reasons, we've made this unusual quantity selector. If you wanted to be really nitpicky about the style, they could have used this. They could have kept add to cart and the quantity selector on the same line. That might be neat. Cool way to do it. Same problem with it defaulted to small, but very smart that they have started with. They've got my fit guide up here. But what I don't like, they've got a very elaborate fit guide. Oh my gosh. But it takes me to a different page. So ideally, I'd want that in a modal window so that I don't leave the product page. But they really do a good job of over communicating with that big style guide. And then here in our description, we're using accordion menus. The downside to using tab descriptions and accordion menus, and like there's plenty of room here, I think, where this could have continued, is that in usability studies from Baymard Institute, at least a third of people aren't going to see anything outside of the first accordion menu. So something to be aware of when you do use these accordion menus. And like, this isn't that big. I don't see an issue with why we couldn't just display all of that. Especially like, wow, a guarantee. Okay, that's a objection buster. It's also, I don't think I could scroll. Oh, all right. So once it's kind of, this layout makes it a little bit hard to scroll down this page. I have to scroll to the end of the images and then I could scroll down. Okay, clearly there's a slight issue here where this just says title. And then we have, but here, this is nice. We're showing actual customers with the photos. It's user-generated content. User-generated content is great. Here, that's a part of that Yotpo review app, and they've got their reviews. But I wish I had
I wish I had the social proof up higher so that I could see it in like the above the fold kind of component.
Yeah, I got some really good stuff here, and it's kind of hard to get to. Yeah. All right, let's see what this cart looks like. Kapow. Boom. So again, the drawer cart. The drawer cart's really nice because it's very clear what your options are. You're not taking them off the page, but if they want to continue, they can. My recommendations here for a drawer cart like this, especially when it's fairly simple and straightforward. This checkout button, I would rename it Proceed to Checkout. I would make it bigger. And I would also include it at the top. I want it at the top and the bottom of this thing, especially on mobile, to make sure that nobody misses it. You could also include, like Chubby's had a lot of free gift stuff in there. I've worked with some drawer carts and some other clients where, even if I added like 3 or 4 items in here, I'd still have some white space. So you can have objection busters in these drawer carts where you say like, they talk about their money back guarantee. Okay, include that in this cart. Tell me about that again.
Yeah, especially since I had to expand that accordion there.
Yes.
What about the lack of upsell, cross-sell? They sell socks and they haven't offered me any socks. I only wanted underwear, but if you show me some socks.
Such a missed opportunity.
I mean, I feel like that could increase average order value by like $10.
There was they could do an in-cart upsell in here, which I would love. I would be thrilled to see that. Or it could be a modal pop-up. So I think so far the biggest opportunity we've seen on that site is just in the cart itself. And then Oh my gosh. Oh, look at this. I teased this with Chubbies. I said, did they style their checkout? And of course they did. Here, I'm always surprised that the big brands that forget to style their checkout. Look at this thing. So this is literally the default checkout in Shopify, with the exception of this little note up here. So the missed opportunity is their logo isn't here. Their fonts and colors. So the brand style, none of the branding comes through here. Well,
that's
this is
Shopify's brand.
Yeah, this is just Shopify's default branding. And then the other thing is they have 4 express checkouts. So I don't know if that's a good solution, but I would encourage people, run all the express checkouts, then do it for a month, and then go in your Shopify analytics under your finances report. And you could actually find out very quickly how people are paying. So if Amazon Pay wildly outperforms Amazon Pay, all right, then you could safely get rid of Amazon Pay and have fewer choices. But if they all get used equally, okay, keep them.
Yeah. And final thoughts, because we are running low on time.
If you look at the site and you go, wow, I wish it's so clean. I wish my brand were more like that. The reason it looks so clean is the entire site is set in a single font. They're just using it in different weights. And all the fonts are single color. That's what gives it that really clean minimalism. There's no sticky elements. We only saw the one newsletter pop up. So if you're trying to keep it clean, this is a good example of a brand that does that. And that's how they're doing it, is through consistency and restraint.
Which is tough, especially if you have a few people with a few ideas coming at each other and no filter. I've seen a few brands do that before. Awesome. Kurt, give everyone a plug for you for Ethercycle. Where can they find you? When would they want to reach out to you?
Oh my gosh. Listen to my podcast, the Unofficial Shopify Podcast, or sign up for my newsletter. Google me, head to kurtelster.com, type in your email address, and every email you get from there is from my actual email address. So if you reply, ask me a thoughtful question, I will send you a thoughtful response.
And he's really good about that. That's actually how we met.
Yeah, that's true.
Awesome. Kurt, thank you so much. And one of the things, because we did talk about it here, one of our, we had a session earlier when we did our virtual networking. We actually couldn't have our session from Order Bump today. They are on demand. I'm going to share the info with you. So it's Boost AOV by showing the right products during the customer journey. And here's the link for everyone in chat. I'm going to just quickly share my screen because we were just hinting on this one tool. So literally in that checkout, we were talking about how if you're selling underwear, you could sell socks. This tool is really simple. It only works for Shopify Plus. But I want you to think about the concept of it, because we talked about adding those socks on the cart, adding them on the product detail page. And there's another tool called Bold Upsell, which I know, Kurt, you like to use, that can tie those things together. This right here is on the checkout page. It's just a little tiny box. It'll sit right in here, so it's not actually pulled off to the side of the screen.
This is
just
awesome.
This little
I've
tiny
never seen
box.
this before.
Yeah, it's really slick. It's just one little upsell right here at the last second. And the interesting thing about having this upsell here is that you've overcome all of the hurdles to get to this moment, right? So these are people that are already, they've got their credit card out, like literally they're about to put their credit card info down and they go, oh, I do want those socks. Those are like awesome. They hit one button. It's a one button add to cart. So it does need to be, so if there are sock sizes, you might maybe assume a medium with a medium pair of underwear. I don't know how it would work exactly, but you need a kind of a fixed product. They just hit add to cart. It just increases the cart value, and then they put in their credit card info. It doesn't take them away from the page. It doesn't slow down the checkout process. It loads asynchronously, and it prints money for Shopify Plus brands as long as you have that.
You know what a cool add-on would be? You say, jump to the head of the line for $5, add expedited processing.
Ooh, yeah, exactly. So that would work for everybody. That's like the no-brainer, right? So yeah, I love it. And so I think that there's an opportunity to bundle, to figure out what people want that you're already selling. They just don't realize that you're offering it, or they haven't had a second to look at that thing. So yeah. Can we add sign up to newsletter? Well, the good news is, Nestor, once you've made it to that page, you've already given your email address in a previous step. So you're actually signed up for the newsletter at that point. So we don't need to do that, but it could be, in fact, maybe a different tool could use or SMS Bump or OmniSend, I think, have that opt-in checkbox that says allow us to text you, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the other things you can do there. And then the Messenger, there might be a Messenger checkbox opportunity as well. I know that there's a Messenger checkbox opportunity oftentimes on the thank you page. I don't know if it's in the checkout process. And what it does is it says, would you like to receive notifications via Messenger? If so, there's a send a messenger button. You click it, and then you get your updates there. So in all those ways, there's communication opportunities. But I think the key thing that I want to just point out is the opportunity to sell more product. We're talking about increasing our margins, average order value. We're at a time where it's good to look at strategy and optimize a little bit more internally. Literally during the networking hour, we were talking about how it's going to be tougher to expand into the U.S. market as a brand, and so just looking at, well, if this little widget can increase average order value by $10, what does that mean? How my cost per acquisition and my lifetime value? All of a sudden, I've got this extra margin that I can put into something else. All right, that's my rant on that. Kurt, thank you so much. We're going to move into our next session, which we have Nicholas from Spently with us.
Oh, that'll be a good one. All right. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
See you guys.